Was also a 26-year veteran of the local police force. Nevertheless, investigators felt there was something about Andros that didn't seem right, and they brought him in to question him more closely.
He came up with some kind of strange, bizarre scenarios at first, but ultimately said that the person you want to talk to is a person named Dawn Silvernail.
Dawn Silvernail was a 50-year-old woman who lived with her husband and son. For years, she had worked with mentally handicapped people and was presently employed as a job advisor for disabled adults. Police thought she was not the kind of person to be involved in a brutal murder, but they did note that she was on the list of those who owned a .45 caliber semi-automatic Ruger, the same kind of gun used to kill Susan.
We did, at that point, obtain a search warrant, and I think on December 23rd, we went to her home in rural Greene County and knocked on the door. I explained that we were investigating a homicide that had occurred in this township, some distance away, and that we had been led to believe by Fred Andros, do you know Fred Andros, that maybe you could help us in this investigation. There was no real response from her at that point. She was very cool and just waiting for more information. I told her that Fred had said that she had actually committed this murder, that she had been involved in a sexual relationship, an intimate sexual relationship with this woman, that she had been spurned, and that Fred said that Dawn, you in fact had murdered her.
Detectives relentlessly pressed Dawn about her relationship with Susan. After several hours of questioning, Dawn began to tell police a very wild story.
I have an acquaintance by the name of Fred Andros, with whom I've been acquainted for approximately 25 years. He contacted me last spring, and he told me he had a lady friend who had a fantasy about having sex with another woman. He asked me if I would participate in a threesome, and after talking to me a couple of times about it, I agreed that I would for the fee of $350. When I came down, she was sitting on a couch. I said, "Hi, how are you?" She said, "Fine," and we proceeded to get down to business. We engaged in lesbian-style sex between the two of us, at which time then he joined in, and it was a threesome. We had other instances where we had gotten together, the three of us, to have another round of menage a trois sex. Each time he would pay me $300 for coming down there for time lost from work, etc.
It took a week of intense questioning before she finally confessed to actually shooting Susan.
Fred told me that he had a real problem with Susan, that he needed to rectify the situation, and that he needed for Susan to be gone. And when I asked him what he meant by gone, he said she needed to be totally out of the picture. I want her dead. When I told him that I couldn't have any part in that, he then threatened me by telling me that harm would come to my husband, my son, or someone in my family if I wouldn't help him.
She looked up and then just began to sob. And she dropped her head and she was sobbing, her shoulders were shaking. And she just said 3 times, "I shot that poor woman, I shot that poor woman, I shot that poor woman."
And I think, truly I feel, that Susan, whatever she did, whether it was a desire for sex or whatever it was, she didn't deserve to be shot. There's more than meets the eye.
The case is played out like some kind of soap opera. Sex, lies, a corruption scandal, murder, and even a bisexual love triangle. A former town official is accused of ordering his lover to kill another of his lovers. Fred Andros says he had nothing to do with the 1999 murder of Susan Bassett. Dawn Silvernail said he had everything to do with it. Silvernail told the court, quote, "Andros told me to put my pistol under her chin and blow her effing brains out."
This was a typical case of he said, she said. Andros said that Dawn had shot Susan because they were having a lesbian affair, and they had started to break up. Dawn was just a spurned lover, he said. Dawn said she had committed murder because Andros had threatened to kill her and her family if she didn't follow his orders. Which one was telling the truth and how to prove it became the real question.
We started to subpoena phone records, which ended up being incredibly instrumental in figuring out not only what happened, but the connections between these three people.
We were faced with thousands and thousands of communications records. We knew that these records were essential to trying to show any type of a connection between Fred Andros, Dawn Silvernail, and our victim.
A new forensic tool developed by the Air Force called